Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, which is at the end of a season and the beginning of a new one, sort of like autumn and winter as things die off with the promise of spring right around the bend. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Winter has some nice moments and spring has some great moments too. Today we're talking about Life After Lockup. This is season 5, episode 50. It's called Love is Sacrifice. Love is Sacrifice.
Love is a sacrifice.
Yes.
Can you do me a favor and blow on your mic? Great. Alrighty. So as the end of a season, it was okay, but I wish that they would have given us more timelines. Like at the end of Justine and Michael's, they were like 11 months later, but it really was. It was like kind of 11 months later and then not 11 months later, which was really weird for me because they jump back and forth. But anyways, let's not put the cart before the horse, or let's not put the engagement request before the getting out of prison and getting a license, you know?
Yeah, I do. Um, okay, so yeah.
So let's start with Tennis and Rob.
Okay.
Tennis is delusional. Not delusional. She's not delusional. She is unequivocally wrong. And I wish that the producers would have
Yeah.
showed her the footage before they allowed her on 3 separate occasions to say on national TV that she never touched that woman.
Now, I'm going to tell you, as a producer or writer, the only feasible outcome is that at some point they will. But the thing is, we know there's no tell all, which if we didn't know that, the logical thing would be at the tell all to be like, well, let's go back and see what actually happened. And they would slow mo it. Let's slow mo it down to see who really put hands up. And they would have Tennis watch it while you see it, and then Tennis is like in the square below it to like make us watch Tennis's face as she watches the first 5 seconds of her hand on Rob's mom's face. Here's the horrible part about it. Rob's mom is a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate because Tennis, I think, and Tennis presents really well, and Tennis's kids
Mm-hmm.
are great. So I'm giving
Mm-hmm.
Tennis the benefit of the doubt just because her kids, how do I say this? Rob's mom's kids are in jail. Tennis's kids are not. You know what I'm saying? And don't seem
Mm-hmm.
like they're, I'm like, okay. So having said all that, Tennis got wrapped up, I feel like, in the heat of the moment where she literally had chosen to walk away and then got brought back because she was so angry. And it feels like she almost blacked out, that she doesn't even remember what actually happened. And or but yeah, the fact that she says there's no way I hit her, it's so out of my character. And I literally, like, that happened and I was like, well, the producers are going to show her to her, right? They're going to say, actually, Tennis, like, I thought literally you would hear a voiceover, actually, Tenny, we have footage if you want to watch it, and then have us be like, well, let's see if she's going to want to watch it. Because it's one thing if she's like, actually don't want to watch it, because then you'd be like, oh, bitch knows. Bitch knows. But if she was like, okay, let's see it. And then if you had to watch her watch it, which is what I want to watch so bad, if that makes sense, you would know. But yeah, we don't get that, I guess. We don't
No,
deserve that, I
you
guess.
don't. What you said is we didn't get that, I guess, but you don't need to guess, Chris, because we didn't get it.
I know it. We deserve it. We're the naughty list. I mean, what are you going to give us this Christmas besides that? I
You
don't
didn't.
know.
They didn't. They don't care.
Why
It was
set it
bad.
up?
It's bad production. It's a bad
Yes.
produced. It's a badly produced segment. Unless they're gonna be on Life After Lockup season 17 or like whatever, which I hope not because it's unnecessary. But I think that I'm good with the fact that I don't want to see any of these cast members ever again. Like I don't like this is not Puppy. Like where's Puppy and
I think
Amber?
about it
Can
all
we
the
bring
time.
them? Can we bring them back? Like I would even take Monique and Derek, even though I don't want them.
Oh.
I would still take them because Derek is funny and Monique is delusional and in such a fun way.
Cameron and Eris. Like, I think that something
Mhm.
happens where This feels like a new class. Like the old, like the seniors of this class are Justine and Mike and Louie and Melissa. Like the 18 months out people are like the big men on campus, but we're like, where's the
Yeah.
graduate students?
Yeah, I want the graduates. I want the students who already got their BA and who are in the grad program. Like that's what we need.
Because this is life after lockup. We're about to go into again as they made us watch. I don't know if you saw this. They had this like awkward teaser where the
No, I
cast
didn't see
members
it.
of Life After Lockup had to watch the teaser for Love After Lockup on a device and then react in real time to it. Now they didn't
Um,
show us what they were watching. So literally they made us watch this. Hi, we're Justina Michael, and we're about to watch a preview of the new season of Life After Lockup. Oh, they're not gonna make it. Oh, she looks nuts.
who said she looks
Ugh.
nuts? Who said
I
that?
don't know,
Who's
you're just like, I'm just
Oh,
like
you just
saying it's
made it
like,
up. Okay. I was
yeah,
like, did Justine say she looks nuts? Because that is fake.
no.
All right. So, anyways, to jump into Tennis and Rob, it's like we're now at the moment after Rob's mother like blows up, and Rob's mother is like, I don't know if anybody has uh, seen the like Aretha Franklin story, or like seen Ray, or seen like a lot of stories where they try to tell us before we had like mental health diagnoses. They try to tell us like in these narratives that these people had some kind of mental health issue. Like in Aretha's one, they are alluding to the fact that Aretha had either a drinking, a drug, an alcohol problem, or she was like bipolar or something. And they referred to her as, that was when she's like not Aretha, she's like Ari. Like they name the person she is when she's in the clutches of her alcoholism and her self, like, whatever, her down or whatever from being a bipolar person, her non-manic stage. And that's what they're doing here, is like they want us to believe that Kate is a recovered person who blows up and turns into a Tasmanian devil and kills everyone around her, including her children, and no one is safe. But Teeny drives her to that place. Tennis drives her to that place. And so she's working really hard with the help of the Lord, our Savior Jesus Christ, to let that person go, because that's not the person she wants to be. But we're all here like, you're still that person, because even after this happened and your son is sitting in front of you, you have a blow up because he doesn't believe that you got hit first. And even though he's wrong, but the fact that you are unable to go, okay, based on all the therapy I've had and based on like all of the like group sessions and the books that I have read about my behavior, I feel myself getting angry. And so I need to remove myself from the situation. And at this time, I can't continue this conversation because it is activating a side of me that I no longer want to be. She doesn't say that. She like walks away, like they fix the table. Both of her sons are like, there's, instead of it being Kate, there's Tina, and like are waiting for Tina to go back, for Kate to come back into the light and be the person who's like talking to everybody. And then when the producers ask her about it, she's like, listen, I don't want to go there, but if someone comes with a certain energy, I'm just going to match that energy. And that is a person who isn't healed. And so it's really it's hard for me because like Rob is crying and all this stuff, but she really, 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 really feels at the end of the day that her children owe her.
Mhm.
And she made a comment and she's like, listen, I want to talk to my sons every day. And if I need a little some want to get that from them too. That's why I had 5 sons. And we're like, at no point do any of us believe that you planned any of your children with any forethought or security. Like, so what are you talking about?
So much of that was interesting. It was like, would you kill off the daughters then? Like, I don't even understand. Like, what does that mean? Like, I kept the sons for the financial security. She, that part was interesting. But to me, it felt like, yeah, like this thing I don't understand, but a power struggle. It feels like I've never been in a mother-in-law situation. I think that I was like, I cared about that, like, I felt like I needed to assert a certain power struggle, or like, or feel a certain way. But there's like the power struggle between the other woman and the mom, if that's the dynamic. And then just the power struggle between the son and the mom, and who has to like pay, I don't know, ultimate homage to or something. And like, I've never had a kid. I can't like, but there's like, there are some moms that with their sons feel a certain type of way. And I think that like, I don't really dive into mother son relationships as much as I understand, like, of course, daddy daughter ones. But there's this, you owe me, I will always be first for you. How, like, you have to pay your respects and your taxes to me, like I'm this overlord. And yes, you can live in your serfdom with your queen serf, you know what I'm saying? But like, there's this, and I don't know, like, is that how you? I don't know. Just listen. As I know that you understand daddy daughter dynamics too, but how do you feel about mother son relationships as they kind of like come out in literature, society, and like stories? Like,
I think it's steeped in patriotism, not patriotism, patriarchy.
yeah,
It's steeped in patriarchy, like not patriotism at all, because like I'm the least, but um it's steeped in the patriarchy, where I think that it comes from this idea that men unfortunately are the breadwinners and the head of houses, and so mothers had to like really kind of lean into their sons just in case their husband died, or some shit happened where they would need their sons and to take care of them, so they have to be like whatever. Like, I mean, even as we learned on this in another Matt Sharp production on 90 Day Fiance, is that in Indian culture the sons don't even leave the house, like, and the mother has to teach the daughter-in-law how to be a mother and a wife and a housekeeper. Like, it's their duty to do that. So there's always this like onus put on, or like crown put on mothers by their sons, even if the mother is the worst crazy person in the world. There's still like this like thing of like, oh, that's my mother. Now, that is not my familial experience. Like, I think the men in our families know that the mothers are not all mothers are worthy of that red carpet, and they'll get a carpet, but it won't be red. And like, you could do certain things, but you can't do all the things, right? And so Rob, I think that he's in that place, but he's really hard for him to step up to his mother and say, hey, I understand that you're frustrated that I gave money to Tennis and her children, but I don't owe you anything, and the fact that you feel as though I owe you anything is the problem. So when you let that go, if you can, then we can start to build a relationship. But I think that Rob is still one of these people who like want to cultivate the relationship with their mother because of societal pressures, and because of, the things everybody tells you is like, that's your mom. I hate that statement. Now,
you're
you know
right. You
me.
know what? You're
Like, when I
right.
want to talk, like when we talk about Justine and Sherry, like we're going to have to go in. But it's that
That's gonna
thing.
be triggering for me.
Yeah. It's that thing. So um mother and son leave. Tennis rolls up and is like, how dare you let that woman in my house? Then she said this, and he's like, well, I defended you. And he's like, yes. She's like, yes, but you didn't tell me she was coming over and she's around my kids. The last time my kids have seen her, she and her got a fight. Me and her got in a fight. So I don't want her hugging my kids. I don't want any of that. Now, I will say that from an outside perspective, that I feel like she's allowed to be frustrated that Kate came to the house and was around her kids, I guess. But the fact is that based on what we saw, Rob had her on the side of the house with a fold-up table and some fold-up chairs. So that is not, to me, showing her, again, there's a carpet, but it ain't red. And so that's not him showing her the ultimate whatever, and that's not him bringing the children around her. Like, he's allowed to allow his mother to come to the house, but he should have told Tennis that she was coming to the house, if that is really important for Tennis to know. Because if it were me, I wouldn't want somebody like breathing my candle scented air. I don't want somebody like who doesn't like me. Like, you can't come and sit on my lush couch and drink my filtered water, and you don't like me. Mm-mm.
I feel you. I understand. So yeah, we get a Rob cries, and that's where we are. They haven't spoken at the very end. We find out that they haven't spoken to her in a very long time, well, since filming. So basically, Rob had tried to get Tennis to be like, well, if I get her to like admit accountability, even though Tennis also has to admit accountability, but Tennis doesn't know that. And Tennis is like, no. And then Tennis like, maybe if you have a good relationship with her, and so Rob's like, okay, so if I have a good relationship with her, are you saying you won't stand in the way? She's like, well, then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So I mean, what I'm hearing is no. So I mean, I just want to help you out, Rob, because I don't know if you're
I'm
picking up what
hearing
I'm picking up.
Yeah, I'm hearing maybe and I'm hearing maybe no. You know what I mean? Like that's also what I'm hearing too. She's like, we can talk about it. But again, too much has happened for Tennis to be able to say yes. Too much has happened to her. And I think it's all started with the ex-girlfriend used to give me money and you don't. And she's like, I've done too much for Rob, and at this point it is mad disrespectful. Now she did say that this Kate's gonna cut up in front of the White House. She's gonna cut up, like she's just like, Kate is an animal that cannot be tamed. She will act a fool no matter where she is. No decorum, no no, and I listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, there is I
Say it.
see that because like sometimes I'm a little I'm a little like, oh, unfortunately you are just too low brow for me. Like there is no coming back. Like you're just too Velveeta and I will always be Gouda. And like that you're not even going to get to a cheddar. And that's unfortunate for you. That's unfortunate for you. You know what I mean? Like I feel bad and I've tried to give you Gouda. I've tried to give you cheddar. But you're like, "No, I am actually Velveeta and I will remain thus. I will remain so." And so sometimes you have that like that thing, and you don't want to put any energy into it. But I think I'm glad that Tennis and Rob don't have kids because then I would be like, I'm sorry, Tennis, you can't keep him from a whole side of his family because you don't like that person. As long as they're not abusing the child, there's no reason for that child not to meet Kate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what if you what if you are totally someone who likes like petite basque and like sharp cheddar, like like an Irish cheddar, but once in a while, a powdered Auntie Annie's mac and cheese hits.
Oh no, I think that's fine too because I too love a little spam. You know, like I too like
You like spam
I've
in a
gotten it.
Hawaiian way, or
Well, so the Japanese use it too. Like
so yeah,
there,
okay,
there's
so in a
there's like an
cultural
yeah yeah
way?
yeah. There's
Mm.
like a culture where you like cut it up and like it. Some
No,
people,
I know.
during wars, people had to live, right? So like
Understand? Yeah.
there will always be like that where I'm like, okay, I'm mad at this. I'm not mad at this. This is tasty. This will get us through hard times. It's like I will always be the person who likes fried bologna. To me, fried bologna is like fire. And it did come from that side of my life and family where, sometimes times are hard. You know what I mean? So
I
I
mean,
agree with
yeah,
your Auntie Annie's because it's the same idea. Whereas like it maybe times weren't hard, but this is quick and easy. So I'm gonna buy it for my child who likes to eat macaroni and cheese. You know what I mean? No matter what
yeah.
socioeconomic class you are. Like it's fine. So I agree.
In the 80s and early 90s, I mean, I don't know, I think everyone ate that way. I don't know if there were social economic classes that didn't eat that. Like I don't know. All I know is I know that at least I was upper middle class, just based on where I was, but I ate Oscar Mayer bologna sandwiches, Lunchables, Kraft mac and cheese, all the things, everything was name brand, like I never had fried bologna, but like I just had bologna sandwiches with, you know, then an American cheese slice, everything packaged just like, like and on like, white bread, just like I don't even know, melting into my mouth like some weird marshmallow sandwich. Okay, so let's move on because, so
Yeah,
that's what
no,
happened with
that's
them
so
and we'll see
funny.
what happens. Do you want to move
Yeah.
on to Bianca and Daniel?
Sure.
Okay, babe. So, listen, they are always together because they have no one else in the area they live, and they're in a codependent relationship, which a lot of, turns out, relationships that start out in prison, unless they are the obvious con relationship, which is I need money from you. Please give me money as much as you can and then get away from me. I can't stand the thought of you. I can't stand your breath or whatever. If that's not what's happening and they like bonded in while the other one was in prison, then odds are, and this is like not a big light bulb moment, that they're going to be in a codependent relationship once that person gets out. And I mean that like they would obviously spend a lot of time together. They would not want to do things without each other. You know, I feel like you saw, like if we go back and study all the things, it's like Justine and Michael wearing the same clothes and stuff like that. But here's the thing. So they are bickering a lot, and she obviously is pretending that she is like 47 and like about wasting her life away on this one. Like that's the narrative, like she's like, I don't know how much longer I can wait, all my youth years. Like meanwhile she's like 19. No, she's like 22. I don't know what she is, but she's like very young. They go on a date to like a koi fish pond. Wow, what do you think about this?
Her outfit was
Yeah, I know. What do you say?
such a tragedy. It was
Mm-hmm.
this woman has no style, no taste. In fact, like,
Well, woman
she
is a
is
big word. She's not a girl, not yet a
not yet a
woman.
woman.
All she
Um,
needs is time, a moment that is hers, while she's in between. Plus, she's in Arizona right now, so basically, in like that in that Britney video, and I'm like gonna always give you a Britney moment. I think she's like in like some sort of like big ass Grand Canyon looking place, so it's exactly like Bianca. Go ahead, Wa.
she needs to get some style. She has none, and it is so upsetting and painfully obvious to me. So they go to the koi pond and he's super excited about it. It's so weird to me when you are with somebody that you supposedly love and they get excited about something that maybe seems just like blase to you. The least you could do is like, yeah, that's really cool. I've seen this before. Like my mom used to take me to the aquarium. So this is really cool. I'm glad I get to share this moment with you. Even though you think that the koi fish are like the most boring thing and like how could your person like this? I think it's so cool. That's how she was with him. Like she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's fish." Now, that's an impressive amount of fish in a pond. It was a lot of them. Okay? Um
Wow.
so like it's
Delighted in him. Like just looks like Wa, like you look over at Wa's face, she's just like just like person surprise. I
I'm
love that
happy
I
for
love that
him.
tickles you.
I'm happy when people see things that are to me mundane, but to them are just like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like if especially if
Yeah.
there's somebody that I love, like I'm in a relationship with or like having intimacy with, then like I would love to be there with them when they experience that for the first time. But not Bianca. She's so like hell bent on it being like 1825 and she like lives on a prairie with her family and she's just turned 20 and she's already considered like a spinster and she needs to get married immediately. It's like weird. It's the same thing with that other person from that other franchise who's like 23 and is like, it's time for marriage. And I'm like, it's not though. Like, you're not 30. Calm down. It's not
You know,
time for marriage.
it's so true. And we blame the Mormons as like, or like, why don't we blame the Mormons? Me and you. But like,
Like,
like I feel like you get a lot of like stereotypes of like super religious or people like, who are getting married really young in America. Obviously, yeah, there are different ones or whatever. But it's interesting because later on I was thinking like Justine and Michael give Mormon vibes and they're like they have like, all their kids and all that stuff and just like how dumb they all are. And just like I don't know. Anyway, so I want to stay with them. So after this very kind of like melancholy, trip to the koi pond, they sit down and they have a discussion. And the discussion is, that she's like so confused that while in prison, they talked and they bonded so much and they want to, like, it's like this, like, it feels like the Magda, Joey conversation of like, you told me that you love me. A, you told me that you want to spend the rest of your life with me. B, So what's the problem? You know, like it feels like here we are. Okay, you get the opportunity. Okay, so it's like with like if Magda or whatever, like not to like crossing, but like, you know, like, okay, now you're here in my country, we're together. You have the opportunity to propose to me so we can move on with the plan that you said you wanted. This is how you do the thing. You said you wanted this thing. If you're a man of action, this is how you do it. Like, you know, for Bianca, it's like, okay, I got myself to Arizona. I mean, I'm not saying that Bianca's right, but I'm just wondering, like, what, you know, like, I got myself to Arizona. I have like a large sum of money that, like, you know, I'm willy nilly spending because I think that it's going to last forever. And when I'm fucking 30, I'm going to be so upset, so mad that I wasted all this money on this random move for this dumbass man instead of like, oh my fucking god, if I had just put it in some sort of like easy breezy Vanguard S&P 500 for like 10 years. I mean, whatever the fuck it. Okay, so moving on. What does that?
Yeah,
So
you
she said,
can't expect someone to know about savings. That's like
I
a
know,
this
but listen, I
living.
know. She
I don't
had
even
a big
understand.
sis, she had a mentor, she had a wise person in her life. She would just that's another reason why listen, I don't blame her, but I'm just saying she's so confused that the wise person in her life is Daniel. Like he's
Yes,
10 years older.
he
So
says to her, Listen, what I know that I proposed to you in prison. However, that was wrong of me because now that I'm out and it's been a month, I don't have a license. I don't have a steady job. I don't have any credit. In fact, like my entire time before this last stint in prison was me like stealing and doing whatever to get high. And I really want to know what happened to him. Like he almost said it in the confessional like something had like he had some kind of trauma or something happened to him. Which is like the catalyst to this behavior and based on like information provided by his mother, he was most likely doing drugs with his brother too. So something happened to them as children, and now he is at the age and maybe has had a little bit of like help in prison because he even relapsed in prison and in this stint, and she would like him to come out and be her husband. He's like, I know that that's wrong. And then he even says to us, like, he gives her a promise ring. It doesn't fit her. It only fits her middle finger. And she's like, that's so fitting, because she like wants to flip him off. And he's
yeah,
like,
on
I
her
was
right hand.
yeah, I was dumb. I was wrong. And he's like, it's a promise. It's not a promise for to get married. It's a promise that you and I will be together and I'm going to work on this relationship, which is like, Narcotics Anonymous, not you should never do, right? Like you should not get into a relationship within the first like 3 years of your sobriety, because you need to take care of you and focus on you and not have somebody like that you have to take care of and that could trigger you or cause issues as well. And so he's already doing something that he knows he shouldn't do by being with her. But I think it's also because where else is he going to go? So he's in a rock and a hard place, I think, a little bit too. And she is so
Mm.
annoyed. Now, I know you put that picture up, so now I'll let you talk about the picture. Go.
I just wanted to say before we move on, because I think like I know what I know what he says at the end, and I think that you should bring that up because I think it was really beautiful. But does she have like gray hair? She's so young. In this picture, I
Yeah.
feel like I saw, yeah, like he's giving her gray hair. Like if she needs like a big sis or someone to be like, girl, no, but she doesn't have it. And he's not a bad guy, but he knows he's not good for her, but he has no other options. And I think that he maybe feels either in a codependent relationship with her or feels for her. I think he cares for her in a way like because she's like a troubled baby bird that has all these issues and is so sad. But did you want to bring up what he said?
Yeah. So he ends up saying, like, you know what? I love Bianca. And I tell her that I love her. And I can tell that she doesn't love herself, because I didn't love myself for a lot of years. And I didn't know how to love myself. And so I as much as I did ask her and tell her I wanted to get married to her and all that jazz, that was just in the moment it felt right. But now that I'm out in the real world, it feels wrong. And she needs to learn to love herself. And I'm like, oh my god, how great and insightful for him to say that. And it was beautiful. However, they ended up moving out
Yes,
of their pre-furnished home and got their own place where they can refurnish it themselves. And I think that she is not good for his sobriety.
I agree.
And so I feel for him in more than I feel for her. Like, I don't Like, I think she needs to, like, she's like, how long am I supposed to wait? Like, I thought the promise me ring meant that you were gonna propose to me in 6 months. It's like her concept of time is so limited that, like, I wonder if at 23 I thought 6 months was a long time, because I'm telling you right now at this age, like, I think of time in like year increments. Like, I'm like, oh, next year. Like, I'm never like next month. Like, things are, the time goes by so quick for me now at this age that I can't believe I've lived here for 2 years. Like, that is crazy to me. But she might as well have, if she were me, she would have lived here for 10 years already. I don't know.
I agree. I wonder how much Twilight she watched growing up. I mean, that just like seems me. Yeah, that was really insightful of him. And then I forgot to say this. Tennis also had an insightful moment, even though she's categorically wrong on whether she put her hands on Kate. But she had said, with people have to set boundaries because givers specifically, have to, because takers are just going to take anyway. So there was like a lot of
Yeah.
like truth bombs.
Mhm.
Let's move on to Zeruiah and Troy.
Now, I'll let you
So
do this. This was so quick that I could say it in one sentence, but go ahead. You.
I want to hear what you said. I want to hear what you.
Oh,
I want to hear it. Okay.
here's my sentence. Troy and Zeruiah don't see Troy baby Jr. They plan on having a real wedding soon.
I agree. Now I'm going to, of course, just add a couple of fun moments. Zeruiah thinks that Yana is jealous of her, like, which I think is so funny because Yana's really pretty. And Zeruiah at this moment is wearing the most bananas hat that I wish I know that Yana saw that hat and was like, oh God, just please. I have to talk about something right now. And I can't even deal with that fucking hat. But the minute I get back in my car with my girl who's sitting in there, who like gets scared because Troy runs up there, I cannot fucking wait to be like, bitch. And then I saw her with this goddamn checkers hat. I mean, it was black. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I want to say.
Well, I mean, no, I don't. Here's what I'm saying.
Okay, good. You like the hat.
No, it's
You
not that
love
I
the
like
hat.
the hat. It's the fact that
I'll get it for you for Christmas.
Yana can still be jealous of Zeruiah regardless of pretty or not, regardless of features or whatnot. That has nothing to do with the fact
I
that,
don't even say features. It's a hat.
oh no,
Okay.
you were saying Yana's pretty. So like, how could she possibly be jealous of somebody with this crazy hat on? That's what I thought you said. If you didn't say that, then
Oh, I
that's
saw.
fine.
I see what you're saying. I see what I forgot that I said Yana is pretty. I didn't think that but I wasn't making fun of Zeruiah's. I don't know why I said her
Looks.
name. Just
No, I
the
know you're
hat.
not
The
making
hat
fun
is
of her
what I
look.
think is funny. Yeah.
I know you're not making fun of her look. What I'm saying is that you can be jealous of somebody because of something that they have, regardless of who, like, not. And I'm not talking to you, Chris Farah. I'm talking to people out in
Okay.
the world. Like, I am somebody who people tell is pretty all the time. I don't walk around thinking that I'm pretty. I don't walk around in that energy. I walk around like me, like hoping that people think I'm funny and like hoping that people like my outfit. That is who, when you see me in the wild, know that in my mind is, I hope nobody thinks I look crazy because of my outfit. And I want the first or second thing to say out of my mouth to make you laugh. I made somebody laugh yesterday and I was walking down the street because I overheard their conversation and they said something and I responded to it and they were confused. And I was like, well, and then they started laughing because they got it. So that being said, two. So I think that Yana can very much be jealous of Zeruiah because Zeruiah has Troy, and maybe Yana had some vision in her mind all this time that when Troy came out, they would be a family. That being said, I don't think Yana is jealous of Zeruiah. I don't think it at all. And it is crazy that Zeruiah would say that. To me, Zeruiah saying that is somebody who's so far into their delusion that like they are unable to like understand that somebody whose baby father went into prison like 7 months after their child was born, and you finally get an opportunity to like reconcile and have them meet the child, and he has a completely different plan with someone he didn't meet on the outside, that he only met in prison, and that person is kind of weird and is like doing the most at all times and thinks that it is okay for him to go and live with her. Like, there's a certain part of Zerulia that's very disrespectful and selfish of Troy and his background and the things that he might need. And he feels, I believe, indebted to her in some kind of way. They're not going to make it, but they think they are. Like, they truly do. And it's interesting. It's like,
I agree. And I also love the fact that Yana was like, called her out for having been with his cellmate before, like, and what kind of like weird ass girl. Like, that part was also hilarious to me,
yes,
very funny. I
yes.
like Yana.
So
I wish it was, I could give me a lot more Yana.
I don't like the way that she's holding Troy away from Troy, though.
Yeah, but Troy is fine with, but at the end of the day, we know that Troy gets to see Troy at the end of the day, like
Yeah,
their
he's
little
gonna go
wrap
to
up is Troy sees
Syracuse.
Troy.
Yeah, he's gonna go to
No
Syracuse.
wrap up
That's
about
what he
what,
should do.
yeah, no, nothing about the charity. We don't know what's happening with that charity, honey. Don't know what they got the grants. We don't know. We don't care. Okay, let's move on to, unless
Mhm,
you don't think so. You want to move
mm-mm.
on. So Melissa and Louis, also kind of a smaller dumb thing because
But
it was
great.
just, I felt like this was so manufactured. Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
Well, go ahead. No, you ruined. No, you know
no.
what? You ruined. No, you. I don't want to ruin it for you. Go ahead. Enjoy it.
Oh.
Go
So we
ahead.
had this beautiful scene where Louis was actually able to get his point across and get Melissa to actually feel bad for her antics. So he explains himself really lovely and he's like, I'm never good enough. I'm always the guy who went to jail. It's like you won't let me like be who I am. I've saved every penny over the last year and a half in order to buy you that ring. And the first thing you do after talking to your sister and your homegirls is to go get it appraised, is to go and get it insured. And she's like, I thought that was a good idea. And he's like, no, it wasn't. If you're going to go get it insured, like in his mind, he's like, if you were going to go get that shit insured, why didn't you bring me with you? Like, who's going to pay those insurance payments? Are you going to pay the insurance payment for your ring? Like, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense for her to have gone to get insurance on this ring without him. And he calls her out on that. And he says, it really hurts my feelings that you don't trust me. That I will always be Louis the fuck up, even though I have been doing everything in my power to not be that person. And I was just really heartfelt. And like I wanted to give him his accolades. I wanted to give him his props because I think that someone who is doing as good as Louis needs to be given the benefit of the doubt. He's like, even employers, it's like I go to a job and everything is great, but then I get the job, but then they have to come back and tell me no because of my background check. And that is something that is really broken in our society, as for anybody who goes to jail to come out and have a better life. And as we know, because of the way capitalism works in our country and the prison pipeline for certain people, and especially prison for people who are sick with the disease of addiction, like a lot of times it does not set them up to come out of prison and be someone who can just slip back in. There are a few who make it and they're able to turn back around and put a hand out to allow folks to work, like whoever it is that Daniel's working for, and Louis is really lucky that the person who he was working for when he was in his addiction took him back so that he could work for that person to make money. Like, it's really just quite unfortunate that happens to people, especially when they get caught up at a young age. Like, I don't know how Rob is able to get out and work, but I'm very happy for him, because we do not have a good system in this country because of the privatization of the prisons and the way that these databases work for background checks. That being said, she actually was sad and she closed her eyes and we can see how terrible her lashes and her eyeliner were. And she actually felt bad, and I like that for this. If we believe that it wasn't fakety fake.
Who's this person, Wah?
Oh my god. Also, like, how did you take this picture? Like this picture, the color of it is just so crazy. How
I
did
took it on my old BlackBerry from
I
2001.
know that's what it looks like. I'm like, is that
I
these?
BBM'd it. I BBM'd it from the past to myself.
Did you take it on your old, like your 10-year-old MacBook Mini, or like not MacBook Mini,
No, I'll tell
your
you what I
little
did. I am one of the last 45 people in America that pays for cable. So I watch this on a TV, which is, ready for this? Curved,
you still have AOL?
because
What?
in one
Okay, go ahead.
year, what?
I said,
What
you
did you say?
you ready for this? I said, do you still have AOL?
No, thank God. Prodigy and CompuServe. And my GeoCities webpage, always. There's
Earthlink,
dancing,
Earthlink.
there's a dancing graphics. But basically, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. So, oh
No,
well.
you were saying you have a curved TV?
Curved TV. I have a curved TV. So, in order to take this picture, I had to pause my cable box on a curved TV, and then I took a picture on my phone from where I was sitting.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you can see the curve now that I bring it up.
Yeah.
And that's where I am in life. So, take every snark and every criticism of all these people with a grain of salt, because you know that for some reason I bought a curved TV the one year that it was popular, and now that's where I can't. I see everything in a mild curve. Okay, so let's move on. To
I
Brittany and
mean,
Key Rock.
it's really good that you have this TV still because it shows that you are willing to invest in an item
Broken
and like
technology.
really, really get its money's worth. You know what? You know what I mean? Like really, you've had that cable box since you've had that apartment and you are still rocking it. And
Yeah,
that
cable
is
box.
admirable.
Wait,
Yeah,
I haven't had this cable box since I've had this
I know.
apartment.
I know.
Oh,
Okay.
I see what you're saying. Sorry, yeah. I was
Let's move on.
confused. Yeah. Maybe some. I mean, I don't know. I definitely am not going to get a new TV anytime soon. Obviously, so she's curvy. Their TV is curvy too, honey. Okay. So, Brittany and Key Rock. So, guess what? They got the house put together right in time for her to have to move back because she can only be there for 29 days. And so we have a FaceTime with her bestie who she's going to move back with. And it's really cute because her bestie has a cute little daughter who loves Brittany's hair, and so does Wah. So I heard Wah's,
Yeah.
like, happiness when I heard that little girl be like, "I love your hair, big red," or whatever she said.
Yeah, yeah. I think she called her TT. And I was like,
I
that's
know,
super
thought so
cute.
too, but there's only two couple people in this world. I mean, I want to be the only TT, but unfortunately, you called yourself TT to your people, which makes no sense to me because your name isn't. Anyway, God bless, but that's you. But I thought I was the
Oh,
only TT.
it really doesn't make any sense to you because at one time when you were a kid, you called yourself TT Fafa. So like you're the only TT in the world?
Yes.
Okay, let me explain to you that TT's baby, like a lot, like in the Black community, a lot of people refer to themselves as TT, and they call their niece and nephew TT's, like TT's baby. And then also TT is short for Tia, which in Spanish means aunt. So just give you more levels to the fact that an aunt would call themselves TT. Next, I just want to remind everybody that Louis is going to get his realtor's license so that he can sell houses to pay
Uh-huh.
for their wedding. And if we are not oversaturated with realtors in this world, I don't know what else. Like, what other job has every upstart, every person who's trying to pull themselves up by their bootstraps to get out of whatever social economic status they're in, has become a realtor? And let me tell you, it worked for the class of 2000. There are several realtors from my high school who didn't go to college and they became realtors, and they in fact are doing well. But that was 24 years ago. And I think that we need to give up on that, and we need to and we need to become somebody else, because the housing market is crazy because of companies buying a bunch of regular ass houses and selling them and renting them at exorbitant prices. So it is no longer the same game
Mhm.
it once was. So if we can all just collectively choose something else to be besides a realtor, if I meet one more realtor on these reality shows. Okay. Key Rock and Brittany. Now, Key Rock calls the system wicked as though it's some kind of like devil, like is it terrible? Is it convoluting? Is it bureaucratic? Absolutely. But wicked is like good news. It's very much wicked. Okay.
No,
Now,
it's, "Well, look to find me in the western sky."
Yes. As someone told me,
Ah! Right.
everyone
Um,
deserves a chance to
to
fly.
fly. Yeah, I have been watching all the TikToks of like the families singing the song, like doing that note. It's been very fun for me, like
Oh, I was
I
obsessed
like
with it 20
people.
years ago when it came out, so, like, it's hard for me to, like, care about Ariana Grande these days.
I don't care about the movie. I actually didn't like it. That's a whole other conversation. I like
You
watching
saw it?
TikToks about it.
You saw the
Mhm.
movie? And you didn't like it? Did you
Mhm.
see the play?
Right. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I never liked the play either.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm here. I
I like the
understand
movie
now.
more than I liked the play. Okay, so I did not like the movie. It's just that I just didn't. I unfortunately also had big ass hype, and I just was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna get to a place called Shiz, which sounds like shit and jizz, and nothing really great happens. It's just like sad animals everywhere. I don't know. Okay, so that's like I just whatever. So you didn't. I don't know. Okay, so but Brittany and Key Rock. So in this conversation on the phone with her friend, Key Rock is like, yeah, you have to be a good influence on my Brittany, like don't take her to the club and like, blah blah blue, blah blah blue. And like the friend's like, I'm not going to. Yes, I am. Yes, we are. I'm gonna make her. We're gonna go out all the time. The friend's like, you don't have to pay me anything when you stay here. I just want you to have to get a job, but you're gonna pretty much owe me whatever I want you to do. You have to do. So if I like need a friend to go to be here, like that's what your bitch doing because guess what? Your rent is free. And Key Rock knows that. Now, the like what ends up happening. Well, it's okay. So basically, as we know, okay, you talk. Okay. So basically,
What just happened?
I know. I know. So basically, okay. So basically, what we know is that she has to pay restitution and blah bitty blue. And Key Rock comes out and says that like it's shitty of her that she hasn't. I mean, that's not the way he says it, but basically that she has to like put her big girl's panties on and like get that shit together because it's ruining their lives or whatever. And as much as like Kirog wants to, like, it's funny because he says that, and the other half of me is like, then how? I mean, the system is wicked, but like it seems like this problem wouldn't be a problem if she had done what you said. So I mean, I don't know. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I agree. I agree with you. It just seems crazy that it's only $10,000. Like, she could make $10,000 in 6 months at a job. Like, she could just go get a job and put all of that
A
money
serving
towards.
job or
No,
for, I mean any sort of
sh she wouldn't even have to get a server. Becoming a server I always felt becoming a server was difficult. I never actually became a server in LA. Like, people want to hire people who have serving experience. So when I was trying to be a server in LA in like the early aughts, it was very difficult for me. So my mind is that
so people
she can go.
lie. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah, I
lie.
didn't know. I didn't know that that was.
Yeah, you have to lie.
Oh,
Everyone
okay.
lies. All It's so easy because all you do
Mm.
is say like, "Yeah, I just got here. Oh yeah, I served at Cafe Du Monde on that's I served at Cafe Desano. It's on Logan Street in my hometown, Rickerside Drive." You're just like,
Oh.
"Okay,"
Yeah, it
shit
was
like that.
yeah, I didn't lie, and so therefore I never got a job as that. But I did get a job as a hostess, and I was gonna work my way up to being a server, and never happened because I got stuck in retail. But that being said, she could go get a job at Target. She could go get a job at the not maybe Target will do a background check. She could go get a job at McDonald's. She could go get a job a lot of places and pay that off, especially if Key Rock was there to support them financially, as he says he was. She could go get that job and like pay that. $10,000 is not a lot of money, guys. Like Ray and Brittany from like seasons past, he owed $100,000. $100,000. Now that is a daunting task. But 10,000, girl, I could spend 10,000 very easily, and I could pay it off very easily too if I focused. Now, that being said, she's going to go home, and he's talking with his family, and his mother obviously loves her. And if she gets denied again, because she's going to go back to Virginia and then try to get it to come and live in Texas, if she gets denied again, then she expects Key Rock to move to Virginia. Now, this is when they reveal to us that this whole time, the reason why she's been denied is because she was never paying her restitution, that it really just hinges on that restitution. And so we're like, oh, and he's like, well, I don't want to mess up what I have going on here in order to go back to Virginia to hang out with you, who knows what they need to do and is just not doing it. So, and he's talking to his brother and he's like, am I wrong? And I was like, Kirok, you not wrong. You not wrong, Kirok. And Brittany is over here so worried that Kirok is not going to be able to know how to cook or like do anything for themselves because like they're a man and men don't know how to do that. And I was like, there's a lot of thoughts running through my mind that are inappropriate. But at the end of the day, it feels like Kirok would be all right with that mama. I feel like all of Kirok and his brothers, I'm sure they know how to make an egg.
She has leaned so hardcore into trad wife. She wants so badly to be just like a taken care of housewife so that, it's like he can't, like she needs to be there to cook, and it's like, no, babe, like you need to
Yeah.
make 10,000 as soon as possible.
That's what you need to do.
That's
Kirok will
what
be
it is. Like
fine.
he can
She's got
absolutely find food. Like,
her aunt coming over once a week to clean up. Did you hear her say that, Chris? Did you hear that?
I did because men don't clean like women, she said. And I was like,
Kirok is gonna be fine. Kirok seems like a well put together individual who knows how to do those things.
she doesn't know any gay men, does she?
I was just like,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I just don't understand.
like she has the most archaic gender role,
Yeah.
like archaic, like, okay, babe. Okay, you never met like a clean gay man that like had, or even a clean straight man. I don't know.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
you never met my brother. I don't know. You just never met my brother. Like a man who grew up in a house with a mother who expected everybody to clean except for her. And that's how I feel about Kirok's mom. Like, I feel like that mother was out either working 3 jobs or doing whatever she had to do or, whatever. And I can only imagine that woman sitting on a couch with a cigarette between her lips, yelling at her kids to clean. that is what that mother is giving me.
What happened?
So,
what happened. So basically the end of their storyline is, guess what? He moves back to Virginia.
Yeah, because she doesn't fucking pay it off. So that's so annoying.
And she knew that she would. They got a money fight over like whether he would move back. And like, yeah, I mean, I know she knew that he would,
And they are tracking each other on apps because
they're in a codependent relationship.
Yeah, but because he cheated on her several years ago, 60 days into their relationship. So that's why she has a tracking app on him. When he was in prison,
that moment. Yeah. In that moment, the tracking wouldn't have helped, would it?
Correct.
He was in prison.
Correct. That's crazy. So, anyways, we were forced to.
If people want to cheat, people will cheat. I feel like if people need to cheat.
Yes.
Okay. So
now we've got our last couple. Thank the Lord is Michael and Justine. So it's Maddie or Manny's or Man. It's Manny's. It shouldn't be Maddie. But anyways,
but it is Maddie. They call it Maddie.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll call her Manny.
So it's Manny's birthday, and it's a day before Justine is supposed to have a cesarean to have the baby, and like everybody's there, like all 9 of them, plus Michael's mother, and they're all very excited. And then lo and behold, we find out that Sherry ended up coming because of this emergency. So Sherry, who is Justine's mother, who has been disappointed with Justine since she was 12 years old. Now, do you think that Justine's father's name is Justin?
God, that's a great point. I love you so much.
Anytime there's like a woman named like Errol-Dean or like Claudia or like fucking like Thomasina, I'm like, were you named after your daddy?
That's so funny. I'm like dead over that. Also, because
it would be, your name is Michaela. From here on out, Chris, your name is Michaela.
Yeah, but because Michelle is kind of like Michelle is like the feminine version of Michael, like Michaeline. Yeah, Mike, what are the words?
I've never heard of Michaeline, but that's great. There is a Michaeline out there. Michaelette. Michaelette.
My dad is so happy.
Wait, do you know that I have an aunt named Charlesetta?
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
her
love that very
father's
much.
her
I'm trying
her
to think of
father's
like
name
what's
is not Charles. Her father's name is not Charles. And there's also Jamesetta. I know two.
Irelette.
Oh,
Okay, Irelette.
Irelina.
I no, it's like already his name. You know, already like it's like Irelina Lena. Irelina Leno. You're right. It would have to be
Yeah.
Irelina Leno.
Yes. Irelina
That
Lino
is funny.
is crazy. Anyways, so Justine
Every time you
is
had to say it. Irelina Leno? What's your name? Irelina Leno? I'm sorry.
my name is
Irelina
Ira
Leno?
Lino. You know what's funny is that Ira is
No, your full name.
staunchly a Jewish man's name. And every
I know,
time
I
there's
love
an
that.
Ira in this world, he is the opposite of my dad.
Yes.
My dad's name is so Jewish that his name is Ira Joshua. That's how
Well, it's
Jewish
that
his name
biblical.
is.
Well, very biblical, very
Yeah,
ancient
Ira
biblical. Yeah.
Joshua Israel is that man's
Yeah.
name. So, anyways,
Listen, honey, at least someone chose him. At least someone chose him. Okay,
wait a
so with
minute.
them, you know, oh,
Yeah,
what?
go ahead, go ahead. Tell them who came to the house.
Her grandmother too. Okay, and
Oh,
her grandmother,
last leg.
I can't believe she made the flight. What were you gonna say?
Last leg. That's what she's on her
Oh
last
yeah,
leg. That was that is her name is Maureen and and
Maury.
the
So yeah, her dad was named Maury.
yeah. So it's like Sherry and Maureen show up and Maureen is a great she's a great I mean she's such a great grandmother that her what seemingly is her eldest grandchild is in college. Her eldest great grandchild is in college. Um so that's so interesting. You know what's funny is that my Aunt Charlesetta is a great great. Anyways, she's a great
Wow.
great grandmother.
She's
Anyways, yeah, it's amazing. Um, so anyways, they show up, and so it's all the grandmothers there. It's like every grandmother alive with both sides of the family is there. If like we could fly to the Dominican Republic and get Michael's grandmother, that would have just made the whole thing even better.
hmm hmm
Justine though is pissed. Like she's like not feeling the greatest because her entire body hurts, which is like I can't imagine going through childbirth, and I can't imagine having your fifth kid just like make every bone and muscle and tendon in your body ache. But then on top of that, you have your mother who like staunchly is disappointed in you and never lets you let go of the fact that she's disappointed. And tells the cameras that is like Michael told me he was going to get a vasectomy. Like, what the fuck? Why don't they just tie that shit up? Like, what's wrong with them? Do we think if we're like psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, do we think that Justine had so many kids that she can love on because I don't know if she's the only child, but in the scenario she is, because she's the only child of a mother who never showed her the love and affection required?
Yep.
Great.
Because yep, and I mean this because I can see because yes, because I obviously feel a certain type of way to the story, but because in a very different way, but a very different relationship with my mom, who happens to have the exact same name. So literally, like I'll take an Ativan after this. But um I don't have kids, I think, because of the fact that, like, I've had a weird, like, calling to do this, like, other thing in my life, which, like, involves, like, entertaining the masses, and it's just very hard, and I shouldn't have, like, probably taken this on, but, like, that has been, like, a driving, like because I also felt like it was, like, what I did the best at, and I also felt like it was what I was supposed to do, and so that's what I kept doing because, like, I think that some women feel like they're supposed to have kids, and I feel like I was supposed to have kids, but not more than this thing that I was supposed to do, and so if I had just been from a different setting and maybe looked and felt slightly tweakly different and or had someone around me that I felt comfortable or romantic with, then I could see myself easily falling into feeling like my calling is to love and be loved, which I could say right now from the chosen career of wanting to entertain people, right? But is like very mothery, And so if you need love and you want to provide and give love, you feel it's like a very similar itch, of like wanting it and knowing that people want it, and then wanting to provide it to heal the others. Like there's all of this kind of psychology in it that like I think is a beautiful part of like the human body and the human brain trying to solve problems. Like you like to solve the problem of my life, right? Like if I've had this problem my whole life, I just never had the right love or whatever. And you see that people maybe have that too. There's like the valiant human nature to like want to solve it. And so yeah, I can see that even being part of Justine's personality of going into like nursinghood and stuff like that too. Like somehow giving service or like giving care to someone felt right and justified for Justine. Anyway, yeah.
Yep. And I think that that is what I too thought that I was going to do, except for I am wildly unhealthy when it comes to the way that I treat people that I love. And I'm getting better. Obviously, I'm like 10 times better than I have been in the past, and even I have been earlier this year. But like, I too, I don't feel for Sherry, but I understand her. I don't feel for her, a bad mother, but I don't know, but I understand her because I think that I could have easily been that because I was I was incapable of changing my thought patterns to be better than the person I was trying to be better than. I was still being that person. And so that's really interesting to me. Um yeah, so I mean like if there was any time for me to have, if I'm at the healthiest, it would be now because I now am very much aware of when I'm harboring things as opposed to just saying them and like moving on, or when I'm like anxious, or when I'm like feeling a certain way because things aren't happening in the order in which I think they should happen. Like how I show up in the world is really different. I'm now somebody who like if somebody's giving me negative energy or like mad at me, like I'm just like, well, I don't have the energy for you. So I'm just gonna remain calm and remain me because I don't have the energy to give it back to you. I don't want to be the person who gives it back.
A lot of
And
energy to
that's
give it back.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. So anyway, she's there and she's not making Justine happy, but she's there. And then Justine and Michael the next day are late to the birth of the baby because they decided to bring all 19
Kids
Sound
and
of
counting.
Music children
Yeah.
to the hospital to get on the nurse's nerves and also to get on Kylie's nerves because this is another conversation that I skipped over. So when the lady's name who rhymes with cherry says that what's going to happen if she dies, then Justine's like, well, Kylie will stand up, and she's like, no, she won't. I'm not going to let my granddaughter quit going to school because you have made a stupid choice. And Justine's like, she's gonna do it because da la 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 la. And I was like, Justine, in my mind, you're being like your mom. Like you're putting something on to your daughter that should not be put onto her, and you're going to from the grave be disappointed in her if she doesn't take care of your children. And then she's like, what is my daughter going to say? I'm sorry, I can't go to physics because I got to take care of my sister. Yeah, that's exactly what she's going to say. Because the brother and the sister have a father, and that father is an adult male named Michael, and that person is going to take care of them kids. And the time where I thought Justine was being silly was when that happened. And the mother is just like, no, I'm not going to let my eldest grandchild fucking be the caretaker because her mother couldn't keep her legs closed.
You want Sherry to have a moment where, like, first of all, this is my daughter. She decided to have a camera crew film her baby's first birthday the night before she's about to give birth. She's literally wearing a shirt that says, "Do not disturb me. I don't want to be disturbed." I would at that moment just allow her to say whatever the fuck she wants to say. Oh, okay, she's gonna take care of all the kids. Yeah, Michael's just gonna like what the rap career. She's gonna like what drop out of 11th grade. Okay, cool. Yeah, all of it. I would just be like, and then later on be like, that's not happening because there's no talking to like a pregnant woman about to give birth. What is she gonna do? And it's like, yeah, to make her cry. And then yeah, it just seems like she's never liked any decision I've made. I'm like, well, I mean, listen, I hate to tell you this. we're not big fans of them either. So, they're not looking good either from this angle. And I also want to give Sherry one more moment of grace, because we have no idea what Sherry's life was like being raised by, Granny long legs, Granny last legs. Okay, Granny last legs and her. So they have the party, and the next morning, yes, as you say, they're late to go to the um birth, but very early on, Justine gets a big dose of something great, like something so great that they can do what the fuck they want, cut everything out, take everything, tubes, I mean, they just like whole body parts out, just her. I mean, that's the craziest part. It's crazy to think that you can just be like open mouth, just like, hi, oh, yeah, honey, and the meanwhile just flap up the entire torso exposed, just, or like fucking the operation game happening in real time. Everyone sees it. The other thing is, yeah, like I'm a child of C-section, and my dad is very proud of the fact that he saw things. You know what I'm saying? That like he was behind the veil, his mom on the line. So it's like my dad, like saw me picking up. So it's just like it's so weird to think that also at some point as a human, let's just
Wait,
like that anyone like those just like let's just say it was in a lesbian relationship with someone who was giving birth, like if it wasn't me, at some point I'm going to be involved maybe in a situation where someone calls me into a room, I've never been a doctor, and I will see the organs of my loved one, is crazy to me. But at the other time, the other side of it's like I think that the moments in which we remember that we are animals and or we are just human bodies is like wildly jarring because of the world that we've created within ourselves. You know
well,
what
I
I'm
think about
saying?
it all the time. I think about it all the time. I think about it all the time. I also want you to know that like the fact that like a cesarean is dangerous in 2024, but like I can only imagine what it was in 2000.
Don't you say my year. Don't use this in the year of our Lord 1997.
I said
Yeah,
2000.
it was good. It was good in 97. No, it was fine in 97. Wah.
I
Thanks for
said
asking. My mom's
yeah,
fine. And
yeah.
also thanks for asking. She's great.
So there's that, and then yeah,
How
in
dare
two,
you?
I said 2000.
How dare
I run the Christina, run the tape back in the audio of the podcast. Run the tape back where I said in the year 2000.
in the year 2000.
Can you
Which is
believe that
weird that I
people?
know that reference, the year that I was born. How do I know that
Oh,
reference
that's
so well?
crazy that people born in the year 2000 are 24 years old. That is the
In the year
wildest thing that I have
2000.
ever heard of in my life. Like, how are they even walking? They just were born. They were just born and they're fully adults with jobs.
They're
Okay.
not walking, Wah. They're like on those like skate, like they're on those like sleddey things all throughout the
Heelys.
land. I know they're on
Heelys.
those like I don't know like those. I hate
What are
those
they?
dumb things.
They say things like
Scooters. They're like
crashing out.
yeah.
City bike.
I don't know. They're all over the
Oh
fucking
my
place. They're
god. Wait, I'm gonna
horrible.
tell you something okay, also let me say this because my dad keeps bothering me about it. So my dad was in a band growing up, a Griffin band, specifically called Chatouille. And recently, within like the last 2 weeks, they were finally able to get their first EP on Apple Music. So go download Chatouille Amute if you want to.
Okay, well, can you? You're gonna have to put a link. No offense, somewhere for you thinking that I'm gonna. You better put a fucking link everywhere, like on our Instagram and on our Patreon and in our Facebook group. You do
He's
that,
like,
okay? And
he's
it's
like,
rude if you
Wahima,
don't.
don't he's like, Wahima, if you could like shout it out. I'm like, so you want me to shout out an EP from a relatively obscure ethnicity in Central America,
Yes, he's right.
from like 1987, so that our audience can download it. If you guys download Amute, I will be very impressed. I'll drop it on Patreon because
All of it.
now I put something on
All of
Patreon this
it.
morning too. So if you guys are
I saw that. Lauren,
interested,
you
I
need to
put
put to
something on
Instagram.
because Patreon is the people who pay us. Instagram
I
don't pay us
know.
shit.
I know, I know. Well, we have to fix that. We also put
Okay.
this on. We want everyone to listen to this song. Now,
Okay.
one song to another. Justine and Michael, guess what? Have a beautiful baby boy, and everyone's very happy. And she has a hysterectomy, and everyone know I have kids again. Okay, whatever. God bless. And she's like, "Oh, I'll be the last kid that I felt this, and he's so special." And his name is Million Banks. Okay, Manhattan Barbie, Million Banks, and that's what we have to deal with, and that's what they did. But then there's a non-shocker and a shocker. Okay,
Mhm.
here's the non-shocker.
Mhm.
They released a song.
Mhm.
Shocker! It is a duet.
Mhm.
Justine sounds
Sounds
very
great.
good on it, in a way that makes you instantaneously realize that she blows him out of the water just by her flow and like the articulation, her canter, like whatever it is. Rap is so music is weird. Audio stuff is weird when you just hear something that sounds good and you're like, oh, that's it. Like she raps one line in this little duet and you're like, oh, fuck. You're the rapper of the family. You're
Yeah.
the one. It's her. It's been her the entire time. And I wonder how long he's known that. Like, have they been rapping together and he's been like, oh, wait, why is she? Does she like, oh, she's pretty good? And or is he like, oh my God, she's better than me? Maybe I'll give her a chance because if he wanted to make money ever, it's her. Okay, that's all I have to
Guess
say.
guess what her name is?
DJ Jazzy Just. I don't know.
Queen Juju. It's Montana Mills and Queen Juju.
Mm,
Gangster shit.
just all this.
So
They're like
available
a
now.
Mormon family. All those kids in the hospital, like that's where I was like, you're like a Mormon family. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like not wanting your kids to go to school and just raise other people's kids. I was like, this, and I keep saying Mormon, but I could just say also say like heavily Christian, like one of those, God bless them, Catholics were like, back in the day, like a lot of kids, no schooling, like whatever those major, that's like why it's so funny that they're like, okay, then here's our gangsta
Wait,
shit
do we hear
single.
her part? Are we
Can
gonna
you
get
put
in
it up
trouble?
more?
If I am, but I just want to make sure, Christina, if we're gonna get in trouble, cut this out.
I give them the business, never nothing less than only give them gas, but we shooting out the test.
She's Lil' Kim.
In a box like we stumbled over treasure. Put your pussies on the floor. Don't give a fuck who you rolling with. Should really watch the way you move your lips. I'm the one you can't ignore. You should get acquainted with this bitch. You think you hate me now, but you gon' hate it when I'm rich.
Okay, now we'll say that the bars are trash, but the sound of her voice is really good. So if she could get somebody to make music for her that is better with their bars, then I think that I would buy a Queen Juju album.
She obviously giving me Lil' Kim,
Mhm.
like,
But she does have
that's
a deep raspy voice, so it's not like I can say. Whereas like Little Kim, her regular voice is like high and like, and then when she raps, it's like yeah, what's up about that fella? But Justine has a deeper voice, and so for her, that Little Kim sound is probably a little bit more natural than Little Kim herself.
well, my
Okay, you
loves,
guys,
we did it.
we did it. We did it.
And as we already told you, the next season's gonna premiere, so we're gonna go back into regular Love After Love During Lockup, and I can't wait because it's
Oh
fresh
my God,
faces, and
there's no Mama June. There's no like something that gives us a break.
I don't know
Oh.
the exact date of the premiere, babe. But since they've already teasing the cast watching the promo, I'm assuming it's around the corner, just like 2025. All right, my loves, thank you so much for being on this journey with us. If you haven't yet, please go and subscribe to our social medias at DocuSweeties on Instagram, at DocuSweeties on TikTok, at DocuSweeties1 on X. We have a Facebook group, the DocuSweeties Podcast Facebook group. We have a YouTube. Please go subscribe, like, do all of that. Give us a 5-star review. At the same time, we'll take your money. Don't think we won't. Well, tell them how.
You can do so by joining us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties. You get a live every first Monday of the month, plus any goodies that we find on the internet that's interesting, and exclusive content when you're listening to the podcast. Like sometimes we tell Christina, our editor, to cut things out. And then if you listen to it on the Patreon, then you heard the full thought. So do that on patreon.com/DocuSweeties, $10 a month if you can. All right, you guys, we will talk to you later. Have a fantastic day. Bye.